Welcome to this edition of Get to the Point. The focus for this edition is the psychology of January blues. My name is Dr. Ciaran O'Keeffe. I'm a psychologist based at BNU. I'm also head of School of Human and Social Sciences.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie and I'm a first year psychology and criminology student.
And I'm Nicola. I'm currently my third year of counselling psychology.
Brilliant. So we're talking about January blues. Some people call it winter blues or the January blues or blue January. What do you think it is?
Well, it certainly has a lot to it. It's just when everyone suddenly becomes so lethargic or constant low moods, those kind of stuff. Can also be called the seasonal affective disorder.
Right.
A lot of people have.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing with January blues. We're talking about that period of time after holiday when it's a low mood. People start to feel sad, they feel down, that sort of thing. And you're right that the January blues is kind of the popular term for it, but the medical term or the scientific term for it is seasonal affective disorder, which kind of gives you a clue as to why it might be happening. Have you got any ideas as to why you think it might be happening?
Depends on the season, as the name would suggest.
Right.
Yeah. Or the winter season, since winter blues.
So what's particular about January then that means that people are lower in January than they might be in other months?
Well, the main thing will be shorter days, becomes dark quickly, lack of sunset, well, lack of sunlight can contribute to that a lot.
Because we know there's a biological reason that the light has an effect on us to such an extent that it kind of creates hormones. It has an effect, a hormonal effect. And when there isn't light, it's affecting melatonin production, this particular chemical, which effectively means that when there isn't light, you're getting that higher production and it's making you more lethargic and making you more sleepy. So there is a biological basis to it. But could there be kind of other psychological reasons why people have January blues?
I think it really boils down to the individual, but it would then lack motivation, hence why that individual will then be depressed or lonely. And also, for example, Christmas season, obviously a lot of money was spent during that time.
Yeah, that's true.
So coming now into the new year, they may have obviously financial stress or issues, especially if that individual has kids, family, people that actually rely on them, if they have those dependents. So it really depends.
It's a good point. I didn't think about that. We take it for granted, don't we, that over that period, Christmas and New Year, people do spend a lot of money.
They do.
If they've got families, they're spending it on presents, but also it's celebration, isn't it? So people are going out partying, they might be spending a lot more money there. And you get into January and suddenly you've got no money, and that in itself could bring you down, couldn't it?
A lot of people also get paid kind of before Christmas, so then they spend all of the money throughout that period between Christmas and New Year's, and then have to wait till the end of January basically to get paid again.
Of course.
So there's even less.
Yeah.
I really think it depends, because me personally, I would say I have a crazy work ethic. So, I'm the type of person, I would work during Christmas. I would work, so I don't think it would affect me personally as opposed to someone who wouldn't work. They'd probably rather spend. So I would actually work overtime shifts, and because you never know, later down the line, you may need the money, and during that season, money gets spent, you're not really sure. So me personally, I don't think it will affect me financially.
In terms of the financial part,
yeah.
But as a psychology student, you can kind of understand the emotional part as well, because it's a holiday period, potentially a lot of happiness, isn't there, and celebration and positive emotions, and then you come into January and it feels like there's nothing. There's a huge peak and then there's nothing. So you can kind of understand maybe how that can have an impact. Do you have any experience? Nicola, do you have any experience with January blues?
Yes, I myself get it every single year.
All right.
For me, it usually starts in December, actually. So as soon as it starts getting dark, I'm not a big fan of Christmas. I I don't have the best memories of Christmas.
Right, okay.
So that also affects my mood as well. And then it just keeps going into January. I just get so sleepy all the time. So I sleep way more than usual. I get so low, but sometimes because of those low moods, I can't sleep at night,
Right,
which
of
is
course.
very counterproductive.
And of course, I guess then it becomes almost like a vicious circle because it's affecting your sleep pattern at night. That disruption of sleep then affects your day, but it can also
100%.
impact you on you psychologically, can't it?
Yeah, no, it's horrible. My sleep schedule is just non-existent at this point. It's horrible.
And so, what sort of things could be done to help with January blues?
There's a lot that you could do. The main thing is try to get as much sunlight as possible throughout the day if you can. If it becomes bad to the point that you literally cannot really function, there is help available. You can get something that I found very interesting actually. I was reading about recently. It's light therapy.
Oh, okay.
So you get like a little lamp that stimulates kind of sunlight, so it helps you out
Right.
in that regard.
I would also say be active. Obviously, you're now in a time where you wouldn't really have the motivation to do all these things, but if you probably think back to a time where you were enjoying doing that, and then maybe it will bring back memories to the point where it will possibly give you that motivation, and then you can possibly just get back to your usual self.
Yeah.
I guess it's a good point about being active anyway. We know that exercise, even light exercise regularly, has a positive impact
Right.
on people. So it's good advice to say be active. But it's also interesting that we're talking about a period in time where lots of people might be making New Year's resolutions to be active, to
Right.
suddenly start going to
Yeah.
the gym or to diet or to change kind of their activity. And that could have another impact, couldn't it, in terms
Oh,
of January blues?
100%. You start your New Year's, be like, oh, I'm going to do all of this, all this. A lot of people make it not achievable as well. They make the goals like way too hard to achieve or give it like such a short period of time. And then they start doing it. And then a couple of weeks into January, doesn't work out. And it just,
Yeah, it
everything
needs
goes
to
down.
be realistic. The goals that you set for yourself, and especially if it's something brand new, like even starting a diet, cutting things down. Like for example, if you have a sweet tooth and you want to maybe drink less sugars or have like less sugars in your drink as well, or even because I personally I try to cut down fizzy drinks. It's not something that you can just do, especially if you were constantly doing it. You'll have to take it slow, and sometimes people wouldn't have the patience for that. So it just all depends. Just having the patience and taking your time and knowing that as long as you stay consistent, you will reach your goal.
And with that, I just want to say it's also important to remember, like, if it's a habit that you want to work on as a resolution, you can start it anytime. If you fail, just take a break, try again. It doesn't have to be, oh, just because I failed New Year's resolution, I can't do it for the whole year again.
Exactly, yeah.
And I guess it's a good point is if you're trying to change your behaviour in some way, become more active or change your diet or whatever it is, we know from psychology degrees that actually the best way of approaching is you do it step by step. You don't suddenly stop one thing and then expect to be able to be successful at another thing, which is why that sense of failure can happen with New Year's resolutions, because people suddenly go, I'm going to go to the gym every day, and they've never been to the gym
Yeah.
before.
Right.
Whereas just, increasing a little bit of activity, maybe on a weekly basis, and then upping it, could help.
100%.
Slow but steady. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, as well, because we're talking about mental health, and of course mental health is kind of at the core of psychology and psychology degrees. And I'm often asked, what is good mental health? Which I think is a huge podcast episode,
Yeah.
in itself. What do you think good mental health is? Or what do you think when you hear that phrase?
It's tricky. You can't really define good mental health. To try to define what's good mental health, you'd have to try to... Probably the easiest way to approach it would be define what's bad mental health. Instead of trying to define the good, just define some of the bad parts of it.
Right.
But again, some things that we see as bad mental health might be normal to other people.
Yeah,
So it
I
really
would
depends.
agree with that. I would say, like, in terms of coping as well. But I would say it's about your well-being. things you do that makes you happy, obviously staying active, even stuff like giving to others. It's really can't be defined, but I think it boils down to you as an individual, what you do that just makes you well and just like at your highest self-actualization and potential.
I guess the difficulty is defining what it is you need to do to be well, but also defining that well, isn't it? I often come from a standpoint of saying we all have mental health, all of us, and yet the term mental health is, such stigma. It's used as a label,
Definitely.
but actually we all have mental health, and we have different ways of dealing with different, ways of coping with it. You mentioned about things that make you happy. And I was thinking of my wife flicking through social media, for example. She absolutely loves social media, and I know you like social media
Yes,
as well.
I do.
Yeah. And so, do you think social media can have an impact on mental health or well-being?
Yes, it could. I think even stuff like TikTok, because you would go on TikTok and then you end up spending hours and hours not even realizing it. And let's say you have a lot of things on your mind or you were very stressful during that day, it can actually play out as a distraction. And there can be lots of positive things taken from it. But I feel like social media is like a platform where there's both good and bad. So you need to just understand and then obviously take the good from it and then you can then move on. But I personally would say it is amazing.
You enjoy it, don't
I
you?
really do.
Brilliant. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's is what you're trying to get out of it. And I
Yep.
think you're right. In some circumstances, with some individuals, it can be very, very positive. For others, they can look at it, and we know from the psychology research, there's issues around self-esteem because you're constantly looking at people on social media who are always happy. And it's almost as though there's a pressure for you to do that. And especially over the holiday season, there's lots of videos and lots of things happening on social media of people being really, really happy and celebrating. And that can then have an impact in this January blues. You
100%.
feel like the pressure to do the same sort of thing.
Even if you don't think it affects you, I feel like it always unconsciously does, because we all unconsciously, sometimes consciously, compare ourselves with other people.
Yeah.
So if all you see is all those happy people during Christmas time, all of that, but you yourself don't usually have a good experience with Christmas, it can really bring your mood down.
Bring you down. I guess there's a positive as well, which is that you're connecting with people, aren't you? I presume when you're on social media, some stuff you're looking at, but also you're messaging people and you're
Yeah.
connecting to them, and that can be helpful.
Definitely.
fantastic.
I'd also say, like, social media, it's a place where I feel like you should just try to be yourself as well. Because obviously you will see, like, influencers, you will see people, maybe your favourite YouTubers, and they're living a life and they're always happy. But obviously, they actually show you what they want you to see. Half of the time, that's not what's actually being portrayed. Or behind closed doors, there's a lot of things that we don't know. So I would say don't idolize them. They can influence you in certain aspects of your life. Maybe even stuff like having a diet. Maybe your favorite influencer has now gone on a diet. So now they've motivated you to do that. But not everything they do should be your point of focus.
We said about social media connecting. I guess, as well as other ways of trying to help with January blues, another way is to connect to people, is to seek support.
100%. One of my closest friends I met online, actually. She lives in France, so hopefully going to see her in May. But no, you can meet so many people who actually can become your close friends and help you out. And it's always nice to talk to people, not even if you're feeling low, just in general, because it helps you out. You can share jokes, all that stuff, and it naturally brings people up.
But I think it's kind of easier said than done because as opposed to someone who's introverted, it may be a little more difficult for them to do so. But in a way, it could be easier because obviously it's social media, not in person. So it really just depends if that person is willing to kind of make that little change just to get out of the January blues.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree, because of being in psychology and studying psychology, that talking to people can help with something like January Blues.
Definitely.
Definitely.
You know, and it's kind of, you have your support group around you, your friends, family, that sort of thing, but also, you know, there are services available that you can reach out to. So at the university, for example, there's the counselling services, but also even the student union, you know, members of the student union making themselves available to talk to, as well as the external services like Samaritans and Mind and various organisations like that. So there's lots of possibilities of people being, you know, people getting the support that they need. Is it an area that you have thought about as a possible career, to get into kind of that support services in terms of counselling, or have you got other aspirations for where you'd like to go?
I would definitely say working within the criminal justice system or working with juveniles, anything of that sort. But also, I'm also interested in social media marketing or like becoming a social media agent, because I really do take an interest in it. I'm always on it, so might as well take something you like and make a career out of it, because I feel like if you do that, you actually never work a day in your life because it's something you enjoy, it's like fun. But yeah, definitely within those areas. So I wouldn't mind doing a master's in social media marketing as well, because it does link with psychology.
Yeah,
So definitely.
definitely how people kind of are drawn to particular ad campaigns, that sort of thing. But also, it'd be interesting to hear from you, because we're talking about January Blues, any particular modules that you've taken or you're taking that kind of help you understand what's happening with January Blues.
For me, would definitely biopsych. Obviously, because of all the neurotransmitters, how it works, like melatonin, serotonin as well, but also psychopathology.
Okay.
It's understanding of all the disorders,
Right.
and obviously seasonal affective disorder, as the name suggests, it's a disorder,
Yeah.
and how it can be helped and treated. So I understand the hows and the whys thanks to these.
And have you just started the psychopathology module?
I'm about to finish it, actually. I'm an
okay.
exam next week.
Right. So you've already had a discussion about what is mental health,
Yeah.
and that sort of thing.
What's normal, what's abnormal, all that stuff.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And you're in your first year, so
Yes.
really only feel like you're starting it. Is there anything that you've learnt that could help understand January Blues, or is it early days yet?
Well, I did a foundation year, first year, and we did kind of touch upon a lot, like in psychology. But as of now, it's still early. We're mainly talking about the criminal justice system as of now, like how inmates are in prison,
Okay.
how is prison a harmful environment, stuff of that sort. But I'm definitely interested in, obviously, later down the line, learning about all of this. But I have seen it like in the news and on articles, so it's definitely something I am familiar with. But you know, you learn something new every day.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, you do. And of course, behind us, I don't know if people can see that we've got what is an observation lounge, and that's sometimes used for role plays in situations. So you're in your final year, you'll start to do some role playing around counselling psychology, where you'll be in that room and potentially playing the role of a counselling psychologist or the client, and the rest of the students will be in this room watching what you're doing. Or sometimes what happens, especially in psychology and criminology, is they do a simulation where they'll have somebody who is suffering with complex mental health and also offending behaviour as well, and they'll have a visit from a probation officer or something like that, and you'll be watching the interaction that happens and kind of learning from that. So there's lots of facilities kind of connected to mental health and connected to the psychology of mental health. So January Blues is about that low mood and possible depression, but kind of just feeling low generally. If you're ever in a situation, you know, at any time of the year and you're feeling particularly low, who would you turn to for support?
Currently, some of the people I tend to support whenever this happens is my girlfriend or some of my close friends. But I have also used the mental health team counselling here at the university. They are fantastic and they are extremely helpful. You can talk to them about literally anything, even if it's you very serious, like depressive moods, or if it's just you feeling low, something happened, they're very, very helpful.
Brilliant. Okay, and yourself, Steph?
I would definitely say family and friends. I've never got to that point where I needed that extra help via the uni services. However, I know they're amazing. However, I'll definitely say my family and friends. I tend to confide in them a lot if I ever go through situations as such. But yeah, definitely.
I think people underestimate the power and how significant that sort of support is from friends and family.
Yeah.
You know, you're both doing psychology degrees, and as part of those degrees, there'll be elements where you'll learn about therapy and particular therapeutic approaches. And fundamental to most of them is talking. You know, the very fact that we use the phrase talking therapies in the NHS and kind of, locally, it gives you a clue that talking helps. It really does. So, yeah, it's good. It's good to hear that you've accessed some of the services, but also you've got a strong support network in terms of your friends and family. In addition, we're based in High Wycombe. BNU is based in High Wycombe. What fun things are there to do in the area? Like, how would you kind of get a little bit of escapism from, your studies?
My favourite thing, because I'm very extroverted, is getting some of our friends going to the arcades or bowling.
Oh, okay.
Just a fun day out. There's always some nice music playing. Just having fun, kind of forget about everything.
Nice. And a short walk from here as well.
Yeah, it's very close. It's like a 5-minute walk.
And yourself, Steph?
Okay. So me personally, I'm extroverted also. However, I think that the town itself doesn't do that much, but the student union here is amazing. So in terms of like just wanting an escapism with friends, or just wanting to like feel free, especially with uni workload as well, I'll definitely say just engage in all the activities, the recreational activities that the uni provides, that our student union provides, and it's all for free. We don't have to pay a single penny here, which is amazing. It's great. But I'll definitely say just engage in that, and it just makes it
Fabulous.
great.
Yeah, student union, one of the best in the country, and
Number
obviously
one.
I'm not a student, but I hear such amazing things about it, and they organise trips and courses and various
Yeah.
things as well. So yeah, always something to do when the student union is involved. So that's brilliant. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this chat. Look forward to the next edition of Get to the Point.